broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this edition of Gun Guy Radio is supplied by LA Police Gear, lapolicegear.com.
Welcome to episode 114 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Chaland, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Well, welcome to the program. I have a great interview this week. I recorded it a little earlier in the week, so if you're watching video, I'm wearing different clothes, so it makes sense. Had Martin on from Rock Island Armory and Armscor. A great interview. Really good stuff. Just a few announcements before we get going. So, kind of a sad one here. We say farewell to one of the podcasters on the network, Chad, from the Competitive Rifle Podcast, has decided that it's time for him to move on, that the podcast is getting in the way of just everything else going on, and we all have crazy busy lives, and he has to stop doing one thing because he's got other new things going on. So for him, the podcast has to go, which I understand. It's a ton of work, and I really can't thank him enough for producing so many awesome episodes at the Competitive Rifle Podcast. If you haven't checked it out, check out Chad and Micah's show. They've had 23 episodes so far, and I'm really working on Chad to do one farewell episode. So hopefully you'll see that fairly soon. But just a really awesome podcast. I look forward to it every week. But don't worry, it's not necessarily going away. The Competitive Rifle Podcast brand will stay here at the Firearms Radio Network, and we're seeking a new host. So if competitive rifle is something that you'd like to talk about, if you're a big listener of this podcast, shoot me an email, jake@firearmsradio.tv. We love to give you a trial run, see how it goes. I mean, if this is something you're passionate about, we're definitely looking for a host for the Competitive Rifle Podcast. I've yet to hear if Micah is going to keep doing the podcast. So shoot me an email, jake@firearmsradio.tv. And we're also looking for some interns here for the Firearms Radio Network. We're looking for a WordPress content organizer. So if you know WordPress backwards and forwards or pretty well, we're looking for someone to hop on the different WordPress sites that we run and just kind of double check everything. Make sure all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed and all that. Just kind of curate the content. Just make sure everything looks good. Add links in where we might need links added. Add maybe categories. If someone missed something, posting something, just something to kind of tighten everything up. So if you like working with WordPress and you like to help out the Firearms Radio Network, it might be a perfect position for you here. And we're also looking for the Firearms Insider gun and gear review specialist. So a review specialist is someone that helps others submit gun and gear reviews. Again, they kind of curate that content. So if this is something you're passionate about, we'd love to have you come aboard. So jake@firearmsradio.tv. And the Great Bond Arms giveaway is almost over. We're giving away the Bond Arms Backup and 45 ACP. That's right. We're giving this away May the 4th. All entries must be submitted by April 30th. Great little 45 ACP Derringer style pistol. Just awesome little gun. Giving this away. And we're drawing from the names who have submitted a review on the Firearms Insider. If you submitted a review by going to firearmsinsider.tv/submit, or head on over there and look for the submit tab, all you have to do is write a review on any gun, any gear, anything. Write a review on it, submit it, and you're in the drawing. You can submit as many reviews as you want. So very cool stuff going on over there for sure. So let's take a little break, and we'll get into the main topic interview that I recorded a few days ago with Martin Tuason from Rock Island Armory and Armscor. Welcome back to the Gun Guy Radio main topic, and I'm here with Martin Tuason, the CEO of Rock Island Armory and Armscor. Hey, Martin.
How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great. So I heard an interview you did with Michael Bain a while back, and it just really was just an awesome story of Armscor and the family history. So it's a third-generation family business, is that right?
Yes, we are third generation, hopefully fourth. We all have kids now, and we're trying to keep the company alive so we could pass it on to our children.
Yep, absolutely. So, let's get to know you a little bit more. Well, it's a family business, so I assume you got into firearms, got into guns early on. How old were you when you first?
Well, my first memory of going to the office with my dad, to the actual factory, I was probably about 3.5, 4. I can't remember exactly when, but I remember walking through the factory as it was in that time, and then there was nothing but jungle behind it, and up where they would assemble air guns and stuff, my dad left me there, and so the guys at the air gun department taught me how to shoot an air gun, and then later in the day, my dad actually took me down to the shooting range. It's our ballistics range now, and I guess at that time was used for test firing as well. And I shot my first .22. That's my earliest memory. I had such fun that day. I got to be with my dad, watch what he do. Everybody idolizes their dad, and to see what he actually does and spend the day with him was, I thought, was just really cool. And I guess he was prepping me up and slowly brainwashing me to come into the business. But I really enjoyed it. I felt like I clicked with the place right away, and that's my memory, my first memory. He used to take me there once in a while. But when I was around 6 or 7, I used to get to go there. Maybe he would let me miss school, maybe once every couple of months, to come with him to work, and we'd go shooting in the afternoon after he was done with work. And I was 6 when I fired my first M16A1 and Beretta Model 12 submachine gun. And 6. Somebody was behind me. I had the M16 on some sandbags. Somebody was behind me and made sure the gun didn't get out of control. But the Beretta Model 12 actually was just heavy to carry, but I could actually handle that at 6. It's smooth, it's slow. It's about 500 rounds per minute, so it's nothing too hectic. It's a lot like a grease gun. And shot a .22 revolver. We made a .22 revolver in those days, and we had a test gun, a Smith & Wesson. One that shoots the semi-wad cutter 38 special. No, the wad cutter 38 special. It was a wad cutter. It wasn't a semi-wad cutter. Wad cutter 38 special. It's automatic, and it shot pretty smooth. And I just always had fun. So my memories of going to work at that early age with my dad was just so good that that's all I wanted to do from when I was, from when I was young. I actually have a really great story about that. Apparently, when I was about 5, my dad called me over to a group of his friends and my grandfather's friends, and and apparently I had been saying it since I was maybe 3.5, 4 years old, that I would be running the company one day. And my grandfather goes to his friends. He says, Martin, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I'd say Lolo's grandfather was the short for grandfather there. And I said, Lolo, I'm going to run your company. And I knew from a very early age there was nothing else for me but the gun business. In all honesty, I strayed away when I was about 21, 22, thinking I was going to maybe have something back up, and I took hotel restaurant management, and I was a minor in culinary arts, a backup degree if anything went wrong. But I never used it except for cooking in the house, and my wife loves it that I can actually cook a really good meal, and that's what can I say? It's a long-time love of mine, working at the factory and going there since I was a little kid. Just all good memories.
That's awesome. That's such a cool story. You not only run a gun company, but you can also cook.
Yeah, Italian food's actually my specialty. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not Filipino, but Italian, although I do know a lot of Filipino dishes and Spanish dishes and stuff.
Very cool. Well, tell me about some of the company history. So your grandfather, did he start the company or buy the company?
Well, he bought the company. It started off as a photography store in 1905. Roy Squires and William Bingham owned it, and they then turned it into a like a mini Cabela's. I guess that's the best way to describe a store. They had hats and clothing, and then they had a sporting department, golf, archery, and shooting and hunting, right? And in the early 30s and late 30s, my grandfather used to shop at the store, and it was owned by an American named Arthur Heilman, and my grandfather would just go shopping there all the time, and he would see the successful business that was there, and he was one of the younger brothers, and he knew he was never going to be in charge of the real estate company and stuff like that. So he convinced his brothers to let him buy the company, and so we had a retail store, Squires Bingham Sportsman's Warehouse. And we bought that 3 weeks before the Japanese invaded in 1941. So as you can imagine, I think that that Mr. Heilman wanted to get out of the Philippines at the time. He had some, I guess, insight to what was happening, and my grandfather was an optimist, buying a business 3 weeks before World War II began in the Philippines.
Talk about good timing. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Japanese came right in, confiscated every gun we had in the store, and my grandfather basically became a tailor and made suits and pants and stuff like that, just to get by through the war. And towards the end, when it started getting really violent in the cities and stuff, they went and hid in the mountains. And then they came back down after the war, and we had the store. And in late 40s, they started instituting some currency controls, and so with the currency controls in place, it was beneficial for us to start making something in the Philippines rather than importing it. It became very difficult. So we looked at what was the most profitable department at the store, and it was guns. So my grandfather said, let's put together a small factory and let's build a .22 rifle. That's at the time, everybody could get a .22 rifle. It was the easiest one to sell, so we copied a Remington type rifle. I believe it was like a Model 50 at the time, a semi-automatic .22, and we upgraded it soon after that, but that was the first one, and it was really like my dad would like to call it a backyard operation. It was literally in one of our properties. We had a shack with some machines, and we were building guns, and we are licensed #1 in the Philippines, and to this day nobody else has license #1. We're licensed #1 to manufacture ammunition as well, which we got in the late 50s. So we have both of those licenses. We have the distinction of being #1. It still says there on the day we hang up our license. It still says their license 00001.
That's awesome. Very cool.
And it went from there into the property that we have today in Marikina, Philippines, which is a 7-hectare property. That's about 15 acres, give or take. And that's where the factory moved to in 1958 and has been since.
So through that time period, what kind of guns did you guys evolve into?
Well, we mainly made 22 rifles from 1952 to present day. And then we started the rimfire ammunition around that time as well. We were using a dry mix formula, which was kind of dangerous and not so reliable at the time. And we made enough 22 to supply just the Philippines. I mean, we were not thinking globally at the time. My grandfather definitely not. And even as my father came in 1962, working for the family, we were just starting out. We got the wet primer formula from Federal, and that's an actually pretty interesting story as well. It's Charles Horn, the chairman of the Olin Foundation, and he was running Federal at the time. He would probably go to jail for what he actually did if it was today with all the restrictions. He traded stamps with our plant manager. They were stamp collectors. And apparently my plant manager sent him some very rare stamps, and he sent over the primer formula and a technician. And we went into the Federal primer formula.
Those must have been some stamps.
That's what I'm thinking. My dad always said he hated Matty, but he had made 2 correct decisions in those days. #1, sending stamps to Charles Horn, and the other one was actually picking the location where the factory is. We are built on a hill, so we never flood, and that city is prone to flooding. We've had some massive ones there in the past, and we've always been dry. It's been a pretty good property, and we've been able to expand there. In fact, we got the property next door as well now. We had a lease option to buy on that one. It's about 3 acres there, and so we've got quite a bit of land to still move some things into for now. And especially now we also subcontract a lot out, so we have other locations all throughout the Philippines, and we're also, instead of expanding in the Philippines, trying to move some things over here.
And here you're based out of where in the U.S.?
I live in Las Vegas, and I work in Pahrump, Nevada. That's about an hour outside, and I work from home for the Philippine time schedule, and I work in the Philippines. Technically, my main office is in the Philippines, in Marikina. Okay.
Very cool. So when did you guys start the transition of 22s and stuff into, the 1911s and the larger calibers?
Okay, well, we went from 22s into shotguns. We bought the design from High Standard in 1963 and started producing them in late 64. And then after that, we bought the design for the Colt Detective Special in 1971 and started producing it in 73. And we made that gun for the Philippine National Police from 1973 all the way till 1989. Then we were part of the Self-Reliant Development Program started by President Marcos And we were given the contract to do the 5.56, the M193. So Juice Mag, the Philippine and American governments came in and gave us the technology and the contract, and we put up the 5.56 line. And then we moved into the other stuff, 9mm, 45, 38s, all the popular stuff. It's very small quantities at first, except for the 5.56 line. We could do about, already at that time, probably about 800,000 rounds a month to fulfill that contract for the Philippine government. And it lasted for about 10 years. And then the contract was over in the mid-'80s, so we'd start selling it to everywhere else. We started in the 70s. I guess we should also mention that there was martial law at the time, so we had to start exporting. Our first export customers were Australia, and with our 22 rifle, we actually controlled 40% of the 22 semi-automatic rimfire market in Australia, all throughout the 70s and early 80s. It was they bought everything we could make. So I had to give a shout out to another company. I would consider them like my cousins. They own Turner's Outdoor in California and Legacy Sports, the Fuller brothers. Their father was instrumental in keeping us alive during the martial law time, and without their father, we probably wouldn't be around. We wouldn't be talking today, at least not about guns, maybe about food. So it's Armscor throughout its history has had its trials and tribulations, I'd like to say. It's been through World War II, martial law, a countless number of typhoons, floods, major earthquakes, 2 revolutions, 6 coup attempts, and every 3 years we have a gun ban where you can't transport any firearms. It means you could buy a gun, but you can't take it home. Every 3 years during an election period for 6 months at a time. We've been through all of that over the last 70 years, and we're still around.
That's amazing.
It's ups and downs in business, right? So you just got to keep on working, chugging along, and you make sure you try to diversify and make things work. I kind of got off track there. I'm sorry. The last part, of course, is the 1911. In 1989, my dad was looking at the Philippine market. Had nothing to do with the United States. And when people came into our stores, especially the old timers, they would say, "I want a 45." And 45 meant 1911. So my dad figured we better make our own 1911. So he put the house, he mortgaged the house, and put up, used that money to start the 1911 line. And it was a good bet. But it took 7 years to develop our 1911 and for us to make it in-house. So in 1996, we started selling it as Charles Daly here in the United States. The Charles Daly 1911 started coming in, and we were selling locally in the Philippines. And then in those days, we made 100% of the gun. By the way, we made the screws, the springs, you name it, we made it on that gun. I guess we were just so used to making everything. Being in the Philippines, we had to really rely on ourselves all that time that we didn't know any other way of doing it. It's changed from now. We do things a little more efficiently than that, because I'm not a screw maker, nor am I a spring maker. I make guns, and there's different ways of doing it. But from 96 to 99, it was being sold as Charles Daly. And in 99, I decided I wanted to kind of get serious in the business. I'd been working already for my dad since 1989, but summer jobs, afternoons after school, nothing too serious. Driving the forklift, fixing guns, packing boxes, cleaning bathrooms. In 1999, I said, you know what? I need to get serious. I need to do something more, Dad, than just driving the forklift. And he says, well, guess what? I'm sure you're familiar with EA Arms, right?
Yeah.
The witness guns and stuff like that. Well, Keith is a very good friend of ours, and my dad was offering Keith a basic GI 1911. And Keith said, Bolo, I'm okay with the witness guns, with the Tanfolios. I'm good with that. I don't need that. So my dad says, well, here's your chance. Keith doesn't want these guns. Go out and sell some 1911s. You have one model, and here it is. And I said, well, I want to kind of start from scratch. One of the things that Michael Kastner always told me of Charles Daly was, half the people like your guns, half don't like your guns. And I'm like, well, there's got to be a reason for why only half the people like our guns and half the people hate our guns, right? Well, it's because half the time we were making the guns right, and the other half, they were terrible. I'd just be frank and honest about that. I've always said, if anybody wants to talk to me about the guns made in the 90s, if you bought one, I'll replace it for free. All right,
really?
I'm sorry.
Seriously.
My guns are lifetime warranty. I can't help what the past before I got really involved in the business and really got to study the 1911 and make it right. But I totally understand why people were doing that. So I said, well, we need to fix that. We need to come up with a new name, and the new name. A friend of mine in the Philippines passed it over. He named one of his gun stores Rock Island Armory, all right, based on Corregidor. The World War II guys will know that was the rock, so he had the little symbol of a cannon in the rocks and Rock Island Armory on his store, and he says, Martin, why don't you use my name there? And I said, well, that's wonderful. I think that name will resonate. There's a Rock Island Arsenal in Illinois, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it sounds so American. I mean, I'm Filipino. I got to remind all your viewers, I am a Filipino that has been living in the United States legally. All right. I stand in line every 5 years at the U.S. Embassy, and I get my work authorization and my visa renewed. All right. I've been here 100% legal. I pay all my taxes. All right, my fair share, I'm going to let you know I pay all of it. Well,
good on you.
Yeah, so just because I'm Filipino doesn't mean I don't contribute to this country. But basically, I thought it would just be so cool, and I could change the perception of how the Armscor guns are looked at. We were known as a cheap 22 or a Charles Daly crappy 1911. In fact, a gun store here in town, when I introduced myself, I can't use foul language, but he basically told me my guns were garbage when I walked into the store. And fair enough. You know what? That just motivated me more to do a better job. So came up with a Rock Island name. Put it on the mil-spec 45 5-inch gun. And I said, Dad, there's one thing we have to do. We need to put a lifetime warranty. We have to make the warranty better than anything out there on the market today. Any other company. We've got to do it right. And I'll tell you why. Because we don't make good guns right now. And we'll strive to do that. And the factory will, knowing that they've got some pressure on them. We'll get the right people. We'll fix it up. But you got to take care of the customers. The number one thing, Jake, when you go to a good store, something goes wrong when you go home, and you go back and you ask them to fix it, and they take care of you right away. You kind of expect that things break once in a while, if things don't go quite right. But how did you get treated at the store, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
Was whether you're come back or not, right? And I said, that's how the American people think. They all understand things can go wrong, but if they go back and they ask you for help and you don't help them, or you don't help them the right way, they will tell 100 or 1,000 of their friends. Now with Facebook and social media, thousands, but in those days I told them 100 people, easy, So what can we do? Put the lifetime warranty in. because at that time we only warrantied our guns for like a year. I'm like, lifetime warranty. And he says, what's the limitations on the warranty? I said, well, as long as they don't mess with the gun, we should fix it for free or replace it. That's what I'd like to see as a gun owner. I own every gun out there. I've had to send it back. I've had guns that have sat for 6 months in a repair department. You think I ever bought that company again? Of course not. That's just on the gun side, right? You got cars and stuff like that. That's why you got to have the customer service, and that's what I really pride myself on is the customer service side of things. And I said, we got to do that. So we came out with the 5-inch GI pistol in late '99. We had a couple of friends who helped us get that started here in the U.S., and that's history. It's you pretty much know how it is today. I mean, if you own a Rock Island, or if you've just even gone to our webpage, you can see what's been going on.
Yeah, it looks like that first 1911 started having babies and hasn't stopped.
I think it has 53 babies right now. So I think that we have on my SKU list that I looked at last. It might be more. I just keep on thinking of different things that are simple changes, and that just makes it a new model. And as long as we're not building a different size slide or a different size frame, in my mind, it's not really a major change. Although my production guys can't stand me, I'll tell you that. They hate that. They like consistency, and I'm like, come on, what's the difference between an MPS sight or a standard Novak style sight that is not adjustable? It's the same cut. Aren't you going to install? You have to install the sight, right?
Well, I tell you what, Martin, at SHOT Show this year, I got to shoot some of these, and I stopped by the booth later on the show floor, and I kind of had the preconceived notion that Rock Island was a little bit lesser on the quality side, but after handling them and shooting them, they seem like very, very quality weapons, very quality driven line of 1911s for sure. I shot the TAC 1911 in 10 millimeter. I think I shot the TAC in 45, and then I shot the new TCM model, and very, very tight guns, very good shooters, just really nice, really nice.
Yeah, well, I like I said, having the rough start that we did with the 1911s at the beginning is, instituting that lifetime warranty. We have to make the guns better. So what I did was I scoured the earth for 1911 guys. Now, I had to go through a few consultants that would be willing to live in the Philippines. All right, at least for a certain period of time, and I had a great opportunity around. We had made some improvements already from '99 to 2004, but a great opportunity in 2004 came up. Freddie Craig from Craig Custom Limited Guns. He builds race guns for IPSC and USPSA and IDPA and Steel Challenge. He went to Iraq to work for a private contractor, for a private security firm for a couple of years, and he had come back and he was looking to get a consultancy job. And I said, I used to shoot with his brother Jamie, and so we knew the same people. And it got back to me that he was looking for a job and that he loved the Philippines. I was like, oh. He loves the Philippines, and he's a 1911 guy, probably one of the best I know, or have heard of, at least. At that time, I didn't know him yet. But I said, tell Freddie to come over. And so he flew in from Kansas, and I talked to him, and I said, Freddie, what can you do to help me out? I need to build really good 1911s, and that everybody can afford it. That's what I want to do. And he says, Martin, no problem. and he went to the Philippines, lived there for 5 years, married a Filipina, moved back. And he still works for us as a consultant, and he flies back and forth now. But he wanted to spend more time with his son in Kansas as he was growing up. And I told him, no problem. You should. Family's important. We are a family business. Kind of understand how important family is. So all you have to do is just fly on a plane or get on the internet now, and look at how we're doing this, right?
Right.
So it's not too difficult, and he is probably, I'm going to give him a lot of credit for straightening us up and getting us to where we are. So you mentioned the good quality. We've got good people. We have really, really good people in the firearms department, but Freddie showed them what quality in a 1911 should be, so that we knew what to reach, to strive for. I think before Freddie, we didn't know really what a good 1911 was.
So what kind of changes were made due to his consultation?
Well, number one, I think our holes for the firing pins, the slide stop hole was slightly off. Number one, he spotted that right away. There were a couple of reference holes that were a little off, and the fitting of the guns, CNC programming for the slides. Once you start putting that all together, and also helping us source better parts, and really not source. We could source the parts, but he vetted the parts, and really improved that. And then helped us up with the assembly portion. Our assemblers, the guys who are training our assemblers now were trained by Freddie. So, can you imagine a guy who builds race guns training your assemblers? So,
that's awesome.
And so now you get these tight guns all the time, and that's standard production run stuff. It's not like it's all the guns that you shot at Media Day. I promise you that every single gun was taken off our warehouse floor and just cleaned up, degreased, and then test fired, and then put on the range. And that's it.
That's awesome.
That's a funny story. We had a general manager, God rest his soul. He's passed away now, but every time I used to ask him for samples around 2001, 2002, he would send me these beautiful guns for SHOT Show. Absolutely gorgeous guns, but they weren't what we were making. So I'm like, you get me in trouble, because every time I tell a customer, he says, oh, these guns are great, and then he receives his shipment, I've got to go do some PR work, and he would kill me with that. And I said, if I can't pull it out from the shelf and show it, then we're not doing it right. So every gun that's supposed to come out of the factory should be able to go on the floor of the NRA show or SHOT Show and be a sample gun, and everybody's supposed to say, wow. And everybody's supposed to be able to shoot. Like you said, your perception was maybe we're not so good. I'm a shooter, man. I just told you my story. I started shooting at 4.5 years old or so, and I love guns. The worst thing for me is to have a not so good gun. And why would I want my customers to have that? So I know that there are a lot of executives in the industry and stuff that maybe they're hunters or, but I don't know if they're gun lovers like I am in some cases, or have fallen in love. My first gun that I ever owned personally is a 1911, and it's a Colt Series 80 Gold Cup. It was a great shooter, and I always loved it, and I carried that gun for a long time until we started making 1911s ourselves. That's the only time I ever sold it, but you gotta have that passion to make things right and take care of your customers.
That's music to my ears for sure. I love to hear that. So looking at your new line, you do a lot of specialty upgrades for some of these. Like a few of them have like VZ grips. What other kind of upgrades do you put in some of these standard models?
Well, we have our standard line, which everybody knows, the mil spec stuff, or our standard tacticals. I looked out there, and I ran into them at trying to think at the NRA show. I met the guys from VZ. His name's John, the president of VZ, and I met him and I said, these grips are pretty cool. I mean, the G10 and they look really good. I mean, I said, I bet you those will look really good on my 1911. And so I got a couple of samples and we put it on there, and I said, wow, this looks great. And I said, let's put it on the guns. And I guess Springfield was thinking the same thing, and so they came out with a couple of their VZ grip stuff as well about the same time I did. So, I mean, I got nothing bad to say about Springfield. They're one of the 1911 guns I actually do like that's out there. That's my competition as far as quality is concerned. But they put those VZ grips on there and adjustable sights and everything, and then they sell their gun for $1,500. Right?
Yep.
That's not what I want to do. I mean, I want everybody to shoot. I want everybody to shoot as much. If you can't afford to buy the gun, I cater to the 80%. I want the people, anybody to go in the store and say, I can afford a 1911, whichever one it is that Martin makes. And you're going to go home and have a great experience with it. So the VZ grips was one that adds a great deal of value to it and makes the gun look great. I also use LPA sights, and the Italians to me make great, wonderful sights. Not that Champion doesn't, or other companies, or Seymour and all those other guys. They all make good sights, but I thought the Italian ones were great. They're the low profile, they're adjustable. Windage and elevation with dots, and we put that fiber optic front on there, and I think that sight picture looks pretty cool. Once again, if somebody does that to their gun, what do they put on there? An extra $100, an extra $150 for adjustable sights, 2-dot adjustable sights. No, I'm not going to do that for my customer either. So I just put it on the guns, and I said, if Springfield sells theirs for $1,500, mine should be able to sell for half of that. and I look at the cost, and I'm still making money. All right, sell for half of that. There's no reason. I really do not want to make a gun that will retail for anything over $1,000. I think that even the $900 limit on my guns is about where I'm at right now. I feel comfortable that 80% of the people who want to buy a gun can afford one of my guns. If you want a really high-end one of mine, well, you can have one. I buy my 6-inch 45 with rails and TRT sights on them, and all that stuff, and I couldn't imagine it being for more than $895 retail. And as a gun guy, you're not going to find a 6-inch 1911 for $900 retail.
No.
Second hand, third hand, stepped on, driven over by a truck maybe, but that's about it, right?
Yeah, your prices really do blow me away, especially with the new lines, the tech line, and like I said, you pick it up and it definitely feels like a $1,200 plus gun, but they don't cost that much.
No, and they never will. That's not my goal. What people got to go out and buy it. So, and I can make a less bear gun. I'll tell you that. We can do those, and make it just as tight. Everything. I'll use one set of tools per gun, and I'll charge $3,000 for the gun too. But that's not what I'm really after. Les Bear's got that market already.
Right.
I want the average everyday Joe to shoot, and shoot one of my guns preferably. But I'd be happy if they were just shooting. I make ammo too, right? So doesn't hurt as long as they're shooting.
Absolutely. So tell me about the 22 TCM. What is it?
The 22 TCM. Well, that's Freddie's brainchild. Freddie and I were walking through the plant one day, and I had buckets and buckets and buckets of rejected 223 brass sitting in one of the driveways. And so he says, "Martin, what would you give me for? What would you let me pay for this brass here?" He's got about 100,000 cases of brass sitting in these buckets. And I said, "Well, I don't know, whatever scrap is, but just give me for scrap." And he says, "All right, I've got something cool I'm going to work on the side, and I'm going to show you your next trip." I said, "Okay, fair enough." So he designed his own reloading dies to fit in his Dillon, and chopped off that brass, necked it down, and put a 224 bullet in there. And we went to the shooting range, and I had this 1911 in my hand, and wide body. It was still in the white. And he says to me, "You've got to shoot this. You're going to have fun." And I fired my first shot, and I was like, "Whoa, there's no recoil." That thing just went bang. I mean, in real bang, you know? I'm like, and I fired it again, and I'm like, and then I took a double tap, and I was like, and I kept it on the target. I mean, I put 2 in the chest. I was maybe at 10 meters, and I put 2 in the chest like that, and right on top of each other, and I pressed the trigger as fast as I could on that double tap. And I saw the target. I went and looked at the target. I looked back at him, and I said, "How fast can we get this into production? We've got to do this. I can go right up against the 5.7 with this." And I didn't even chrono it that day, but a couple of days later we ran it through the chrono, and every stat that I had for the 5.7 pistol showed it going about 1,700, 1,800 feet per second, and we were pushing 2,100. Actually 2,200 with that load that we had that day, and we do it a little safer than that. That's why we want to get to about 2150, but we were at 80% humidity, 85-degree day, and we were pushing more than 2,200 feet per second that day. I'm just like, wow, this is a winner. No recoil. It's a 1911, 17 rounds in the gun. So I said I went up to the office and I called my dad down. I said, "You need to shoot this. You need to back me up on this." I was just in sales at the time, and I was like, "You need to back me up on this. We need to give all the research and development to get this up and running in 1 year. I will be able to sell these guns. I actually don't have to sell these guns. I just have to let people shoot them, and they're going to buy them." And that's how the 22 TCM was born. Now it's its own case and everything. We draw it straight from a cup. I would say about 38 super length, and then neck it down. And we use a 40 cup because of the wall thickness. It's got to be in the webbing because the pressures do get up there. And so a lot of people, I always see people making comments, "Oh, it's just a neck down 9mm. No. If it was in a 9mm case, it would be blowing up. It's actually it's its own thing, and I'm very proud of it. We sell every single one we get here right now. We've been trying to average about 1,000 a month, and I still get emails every day that they can't find it. Ammunition-wise, we're up to about 800,000 rounds a month, our average, delivering it, and I'm still getting emails that I can't get enough ammo out there. That means we got more guns than we do have ammo, and I'm working on that. We bought a lot of new machinery. We've got a new bullet machine coming in the summertime to do 22 TCM bullets, and we have redesigned the 224 bullet too. It's going to be a complete jacketed hollow point, not like it is now, which is the half jacket with the soft point and the dimple. And it's really consistent. That thing opens up and stays whole now. The old style used to shred a little bit sometimes, which I don't know. I guess sometimes that's okay too. But this one just opens up and stays open and flat and stops at about 10 inches of ballistic gel. So all that energy is dissipating all in that little small area. It is devastating. The new rifles coming out of the TCM in the next couple of months, we should start shipping it. When that rifle, that round will be going 2,900, 2,950 out of an 18-inch barrel. That thing will take down a 200-pound pig, and I know it can because I have. With the prototype, I shot a pig at the shooting range. I brought one in, tied it up, and shot it, and then roasted it afterwards. In the Philippines, we don't have much hunting left. My grandfather killed everything. I mean, so him and his brothers, they loved hunting, and they pretty much. I think the deer population. There used to be deer in the Philippines. They're all gone. They're extinct. My grandfather shot them all.
If you're gonna have a pig roast, I guess have some fun, right?
Yeah. I had to test it out on something live. Got to see how it affects it, right? And then I have 1,500 employees there, so big pig, shoot it, roast it, give it out. Afternoon snack for everybody. So it was a fun day, and it's pretty solid round. And I know that out of the new rifle, it's pretty accurate too. We were also testing the accuracy on that, and we were shooting out the primers in 9mm cases at 50 yards, no problem. That was a little competition between a couple of guys from SDI visiting at that time and ourselves. We were just shooting out primers at the back of cases. So it's fun.
That's awesome. So tell me about ammo. We've been going through this ammo craze. It's been probably getting a little bit better here as of late. What's the story on ammo in your book?
Well, I think you're going to see. I got a little inside info that probably will make things. Your people out there not so happy. Number one is the ammo craze is going to come back, and it's nothing to do with government. Nothing to do with any laws to ban anything. It has everything to do with gunpowder. There is a gunpowder shortage in the world. With all the new ammunition companies, new little loaders out there, almost every city's got their own load and pack now for reman or brand new stuff that they're buying components for. It's all the powder's getting eaten up by all the companies. You have Alliant Powder, that's ATK, CCI, those guys have their powder plant, and you have St. Mark's in the United States, the world's largest producer of small arms powder. In Europe, you have PB Claremont, which is probably the second largest powder producing plant in the world for small arms. They are so back ordered that they've had to drop customers that have been with them for such a short time just to take care of older customers who have more priority, their military orders, and there will be such a powder shortage this year that it really is pretty much going out and begging for your stuff so you can make ammunition. There are more guns than there ever have been out in the world today because shooting is coming back. Even in countries like England, they're thinking about letting handguns back again into England, which has been banned for many years. They're now allowing you to own it and have it in a gun club. They're allowing 22 rimfire in almost all the countries where you think that, oh, guns are banned. No, I'm selling tons of rimfire rifles out there. And so now they're buying rimfire. And you've got here where, okay, ammunition went up so much. Back in the day, you could buy a box of 45 ammo for $15-16 for 50 rounds retail. Right now, it's $25-30 a box. So the alternative is to buy 22. Okay, well, got all these rifles. All the rifles that are coming out now have 30-rounder, 50-rounder clips. Everything. So they're going through 50 rounds in a second and a half. Right. Oh, you buy your brick. You used to buy, 97 cents a box at Walmart, and you could buy as much as you like. Well, combination of not increasing the powder supply, plus the new increase in demand from all these new shooters all around the world have caused a shortage. And prices have come down to reasonable levels on the centerfire stuff, but look at rimfire, 22 Magnum, 22 LR. You're paying $70 a brick, $75 a brick for a 22 LR, and what used to cost you $9, $10 a box for a 22 Magnum is going up towards $20. It's only going to get worse. And also, one other thing that I know that just happened last month is that PB Claremont, the second largest producer of powder, their drying section of their plant went up in flames 4 weeks ago. So there will be a 6 to 8 week gap of no production of powder from that plant. And I can tell you that hurts. I buy some powder from them, and I know that all the Russian stuff, all the Wolf and Tula also use them as one of their suppliers. And I knew at the time of their explosion that there was nobody in the world manufacturing ammunition that had more than 3 or 4 weeks worth of powder stocks. So back in the old days, you could buy powder whenever. We always thought that we would, well, just call up St. Mark's, prepare a container, ship it to the Philippines or ship it to Montana, no problem. Now it's all doggy dog out there. So if people need to enjoy it now, when powder starts shortening up, it's going to be a scare again, because there's going to be less and less centerfire stuff out there. And one other big factor is that the largest lead smelter in the United States and last lead smelter in the United States closed down in January because of the EPA. So now prices are going to be driven up by raw materials costs as well.
Well, I was feeling good here until all that.
I'm pretty embedded in the industry, and you can ask anyone. I'm really honest about everything we do, and so if somebody's going to say, "Hey, man, things must be looking good because of ammunition," well, it's not all good. I can tell you that gun sales have slowed down this year, and there are less guns going out to new shooters and stuff, because I think everybody bought it the first 6 months of last year. The second that the president went on and said, "We've got to limit magazines and take away guns and blah blah blah," everybody went out and bought a gun, even the ones who didn't think they were ever going to buy a gun. They just didn't want their Second Amendment trampled on. So there are a lot of new shooters out there. It does cause a shortage, and it takes a long time. For me to set up a whole new line to increase my capacity takes me 16 to 18 months. And maybe ATK could do it a little quicker, Remington, but nobody can do it another 12 months.
Wow.
So it'll be short for a little while longer. They expect this rimfire shortage to last at least till end of 2015.
So, Martin, when are you going to start manufacturing powder?
It costs way too much money to set up a powder plant, and it's. I guess eventually, if you want to get big enough, you're going to have to do it, especially with the limitations that we have right now. But we do have good suppliers. I have been buying from them for many, many years, so I'm kind of up the food chain. So as of right now, I'd rather buy headers, trimmers, loading machines, and just increase my capacity and hope that I can still get my powder all the time. And nobody has any fires.
Cross our fingers. So you mentioned Montana. What do you have in Montana?
Well, having been in the United States for a very long time, I've always felt that this is the largest gun country in the world, right? The Second Amendment. It's a protected right, God-given. And what better place than for logistics-wise, than to have a factory in the United States? I mean, I'm a businessman. you look at it, your biggest customer is going to be the United States. Where should you put your factory? Okay, labor's more expensive. Labor in the United States is 6 times more expensive than the Philippines. Fair enough. But the American worker, in my view, is the best worker in the world. I mean, the American soldier is the reason why World War II was won, right? Because of the soldiers itself. But the support the soldiers had from the workers back home is what really won the war. It's the logistics and stuff. Being able to provide them all the quality rifles, tanks, airplanes, boots, jackets, you name it. That all comes from American industry. And the American worker can't be beat. I mean, dollar for dollar, I get one American. I'd rather have one American working on my stuff than 3 Filipinos. And I don't want to say that because there are a lot of Filipinos who probably listen to your show, and I'm sorry, but it's a fact. I would like to see that change. I tell that to my employees in the Philippines all the time, that you need to be more like the Americans. You want to be competitive in the world, you have to be more like the Americans. They are the best. You have to emulate to be the best. I'm not just doing that because most of your crowd's American. It's the truth. I go all around the world to different factories all around the world. I'll tell you, the Germans are all about precision, and they make really good stuff. But the worker, as far as it's concerned, the best is the American. There's nothing better. And I don't mind going on the record saying that. My Filipino friends and everybody, they're going to get mad at me, but it's the truth. And that's why I want to open a factory here. I already did, and we're very successful. My gamble paid off. A $500,000 investment between me and one other partner, and we've turned that into a multi-million-dollar company within 3 years. Granted that the ammo demand is pretty high, but it would have happened anyway because we do it right, and we found the right mix of Filipino stuff and American stuff combined, and we make good product. Now I'm going to do the same with firearms. You got Montana, it's beautiful. We're moving to a 4-acre property in the summer, hopefully, if the ground will thaw out there in time to build the buildings. And we're going to expand. Yeah, it's Montana. But you know what? It's beautiful country, and the people there are great and hardworking. Their ethics are just everything's great out there. And my partner out there is wonderful. He knows his stuff, and now I'm going to copy the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing in Nevada. We're going to open up a firearms factory out here. Everybody keeps on telling me, it's going to be a 1911. Well, that's part of the new products that we're coming out with. I'm building a factory here that will build our American-made handgun. I can tell you it's a police-type pistol, and that the guys in the police market who I'll be competing with will be shaking in their boots. The gun itself, the prototype that we have, the way we're going to make it. It's incredible. I mean, right out of the box, you can't pull out most of the police pistols out there, the plastic ones and all that stuff that are out there. I won't say names. You can't do 4.5 inch groups out of the box, maybe at best at 25 meters. This one will come out of the box and will shoot 2-inch groups without on a polymer pistol. Number one, it's gonna 17 rounds. I'm gonna use a Beretta mag made by Metgar. It's going to be made and assembled here in the United States. Some Filipino parts, some Israeli parts. Like I said, I go shopping around the world and I look for the best stuff I could put in there. But a majority of the gun will be made here in the United States, and the factory will be right behind our warehouses that we have here in Pahrump, Nevada. And when that gun comes out, it's going to be neat. There'll be 9, 40, and we call it 22 Rev. Now, 22 Rev. I probably shouldn't. I'm not even allowed to talk about this yet, but it's a TCM round. That's a true 9mm TCM. All right, but calling it the 22 Rev, and it's neat. You'll get 1900 feet per second in a police pistol, no recoil. 17 rounds. It's
Very cool. Did you?
it's gonna be fun.
Did you just leak that here? Is that first?
You know what? I'm. If my marketing guys hear me, I'm going to get in deep trouble for saying that. But I didn't show any pictures. I didn't leak too much information. Just know that it's going to be cool. We're going to have a lot of fun with that gun, and I don't even know if it's going to get to a police department, because by the time we come out with it, I won't be able to make enough of them. And it's really, really, really neat. That's definitely one of them. So look forward to that somewhere in 2015.
2015, you said?
Yep, somewhere around there. It's going to come out. What I do have that's coming out in just 2 or 3 months is, the Colt Government 380? That Llama also made a 380 that was kind of like the Colt Government as well. I kind of did a hybrid of that. And that's coming out August, I think, by the latest. I'm trying to get it out July, and we don't know what we're going to call it yet, but it's like a mini 1911 and a 380, and it's going to retail for under $400.
Very cool. Are we going to see that at NRA show possibly?
I have one, but that's here that we're test firing and stuff, and that's what the marketing guys wanted to do, was put it in NRA, but probably not going to do it. I'm going to show my customers first, just before I leave for the Philippines in June. I'm going to show it to them and start preparing all the artwork and getting the purchase orders in, and then I'm going to have to show it off next year. But at least I'll be all set up, because if I show it off at NRA, everybody's going to be emailing me. So when's that 380 coming out? It'll be, the 380 market's still really strong. So we expect to sell quite a bit of those. And of course, we've expanded the 22 TCM line with the single stacks, with rail, without rail, in a full size 5-inch single stack TCM, and a commander size TCM, 4 1/4 inch, and they're all 10 rounders. So we'll be able to sell them in every state but New York and California because of the micro stamping. But we'll get it into Massachusetts, because Massachusetts allows 1911s. Just have to pass the drop test and write a few letters to their AG. But since they're 10 rounders, Massachusetts, Hawaii also is a 10-round state. Connecticut's also a 10-round state. They'll be able to get their TCMs. And Colorado, because Colorado went to 15, so they'll have to get that as well. But those will be readily available. Maybe in 2 months, I'll start shipping.
Very cool. Is there anything on the horizon as far as rifles go?
The 22 TCM rifle, which I promised last year, will come out this year. Within the next 2 months, we should start shipping. And from that, I'm going to jump into other hunting type rifles.
So the 22 TCM, what kind of velocities do you get out of a longer barrel in a rifle?
18-inch barrel, 80% humidity. We're getting 2,900 feet per second plus.
Nice.
Consistently. I think that the great thing about the rifle, though, is Hornady makes a couple of really good bullets as well for the 224. That 35 grain ballistic tip, the VMAX ballistic tip one, I think you'll get over 3,000 feet per second if you use that bullet on that rifle round. So that's the options you can have. I mean, there's reloading dies already for the TCM. Lee and Hornady both make reloading dies already, and Dillon's coming out with it by the end of the year as well. So it'll be really easy to start reloading all the 22 TCM stuff. And Sierra makes a good 224 bullet as well, and so does Nosler. So you have plenty of options for reloading, and but I really like that 35 grain ballistic tip from Hornady, man. Even out of the pistol, it makes it scream. It's fun, and it cycles, so I like that round for reloading.
Well, I better wrap this up before I get you into any more trouble.
No, it's okay. Little hints here and there. I'm not showing pictures. I'm not actually shooting it on YouTube or something like that. We can still have a formal press release and do those things. It won't get me into too much trouble. Some, but not too much. But I still do pay the bills and sign the check. So how mad can they really get at me? I don't think that's gonna get too bad.
They could change the locks, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Anytime. Yeah, you want to come on and share something new? I'm all.
Well, every year, have me on the show. I'm sure I can show you something new every year and talk about it. We're going to be a growing company. Like I said, I want to make sure everybody shoots, and I think when you target 80% of the market, I think you have unlimited growth potential. Sometimes a little slower than others, but you'll always keep on growing. And I hope that one day you and I are talking, and I can tell you that I'm one of the big boys. That's always been my dream, and we work very hard. Me and my family and all my employees, we know what the goal is, and we want to get there. And maybe one day you'll be able to buy stock on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange or something like that, and that's one of my dreams. It's hopefully to get to that point.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, you can't beat it. Quality, affordability, and lifetime warranty.
That's right. Customer service. Make a good gun, but you know what? Guns break. Just like cars or anything else. It's how you take care of the customer. And I want all your listeners to know that whatever it is, we'll take care of you. Our customer service is trained by me and Ivan, and we take care of. We know how to do it right. We take care of you. And if there's any issues, I'll do one. My email is martin@rockislandarmory.com. Easy to remember. Any issues with any one of my guns, email me. I'll take care of it personally. All right?
Very cool. Well, I was just going to ask how to get a hold of you. You can't beat that.
Oh, you ask people. I talk to people all the time, and I'm only one of the crazy ones who actually puts its card out on the table at all the shows, and my card has my cell phone number on it. You
are crazy.
And you know what? Nobody does call me up, though. Nobody wants to bother the president of the company. But I'll tell you, man, if you got a problem, I'm the man to call. I'll make sure it's right every time. I always take care of our customers. Number one, man. They got to take care of the people who take care of you.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. So, if people want to find you on the web, where's the best place?
Simple thing. Armscor.com, RockIslandArmory.com. And you'll get sent. It's the same website. It'll just all link up into one. Eventually, the Armscor.com is for the whole world. We're supposed to have like a globe spinning in the entry page. You're supposed to click any one of the 60 countries we sell in, and then you'll know who the distributor, where to buy it, and what products are sold in that country. But so far, we've only gotten the U.S. side done. We're growing. Over the next 5 years, Armscor.com would be the best. And a lot of people make a mistake and put Armscor.com and then the PH comes out. That would lead you to the Philippines. That's not going to help you out, man. You got to go Armscor.com, and that's it. And you can email us, there's a way to contact us on the website. And, of course, through Facebook. If you want to like our Facebook page at Armscor /Rock Island Armory, I'm on there almost every day, checking out all the messages, and I answer a lot of times. And if you have a problem, I have to expand my customer service area. We are getting a lot of phone calls all the time, and I don't have enough customer service people answering the phones. I just hired a new guy actually on Monday, and he's getting trained, so that should alleviate some of that problem. But email's best, and I already gave mine. I can always forward it over to customer service, or I'll take care of it myself if I'm here.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Well, Martin, thank you so much for coming on the program. Awesome story, awesome family business, and awesome future for Armscor and Rock Island Armory.
Oh, I hope and pray so. Thanks, Jake, for having me on. I really appreciate this opportunity, and let's do this again sometime.
right, we're back. That was an awesome interview. Big shout out to Martin for coming on the show. Just a really cool guy. What a great CEO. He really has a heart for the customer, and it's really great to see that. And I loved how he said, if you had one of her, older Charles Daly, models, and it's not working out for you, contact us. Lifetime warranty, even on the old stuff when there wasn't technically a lifetime warranty back then. So it's pretty awesome. So, LA Police Gear helps make interviews and episodes like this possible. So, what I like about LA Police Gear are, they carry some of their own branded items, such as their operator flashlights. That's right. They have an L1 operator flashlight, and these are great value. They're currently on sale for $49.99, and 800 lumens. 800 lumens. Yeah, that's right. 800 lumens. They have great reviews. They have 5-star average reviews, 107 reviews, 5-star average. Really great LED tactical lights. They come with a removable belt clip. They come with a lanyard. They come with a case. They come in a little foam insert in a cardboard box. So, really nice light overall for the price. Really good value. So you can check those out by going to gunguyradio.com/operator L1. gunguyradio.com/operator L1. And of course, we always have show links in the show notes for the LA Police Gear items that we talk about. Don't forget they have a 365-day return policy, and they also have been running free shipping on all orders. That's right, all orders, $89 and over. So, order this flashlight, order two. Father's Day is coming up. Get free shipping on it. They have a video here of them drop testing it off of I'm assuming it's their building. They throw it off their building, and it's good to go. So durable, lightweight, impact resistant. It's got great reviews. I mean, that's one thing I always look for is what kind of reviews does this product have? And you can look through all these customer reviews here right on LA Police Gear. So gunguyradio.com/LA or Police Gear or LPG, I believe, or LAPolicegear.com. Check them out. So, Duluth Trading Company also makes Gun Guy Radio possible. And, spring is in the air, and it's probably time to look into some more long t-shirts. If you have a plumber's butt issue, as I do, they have a full line of long tail tees. That's right. They have like 30 different versions of the long tail tee. Whether you want just a plain t-shirt, or you want a polo style, or you want like a muscle shirt, sleeveless, if you roll like that, or if you want a long sleeve. They have the long tail tees covered for you, and they also frequently run mix and match deals. Right now they have a mix and match. Some of these are only $9.99 for a long tail tee. You can't beat that. Mix and match and save. Buy 2 or more long tail t-shirts and save $2.50 on each. So look around. Sometimes they have clearance deals as well. They have clearance colors here right now I'm looking at, and they're really not bad colors. I guess they're more of a fall color, but good quality shirts. I have a Duluth long sleeve flannel, free swinging flannel on right now. I love this shirt. So gunguyradio.com/Duluth. Well, we're to the Brown Nose giveaway. That's right, the Brown Nose giveaway. And you know what we were giving away this last month, the month of March? We were giving away beef jerky. It doesn't get any better than that. We're giving away tubs, ammo cans of beef jerky. That's right, Nebraska Star Beef, giving away ammo can of multi-flavor 12-pack. So you get to sample all the different flavors that the Nebraska Star Beef Lucky Brand Outdoorsman Jerky offers. So I drew some winners, 5 of them. That's right. We gave away 5 of these. These are a $79.99 survival value. They're currently actually on sale for just $54.99. I have a link to them in the show notes, but here are the winners. I already emailed these guys, but as always, sometimes you guys don't give me a legitimate email or something. So here we go. 5 winners: Eric Hoyer, Bruce Darmstead, Jimmy Wheeler, Gregory Ailes, and Michael Moorer. So your names are in the show notes as well if you want to double check your name. I emailed you guys. Send me your shipping info, and we'll get those out to you. And the next giveaway is a little bit on the down low right now, but it's something AR-15 related, so stay tuned for that. And we're still giving away that multitasker that I never heard from the winner from the previous month. So Series 3 AR-15 multitasker tool in black with the G10 grips. Yeah, it's a nice, awesome multi-tool. One of the best ones out there, probably the best one out there. And all you have to do is send me out. Understand, only 2 people have done this, but all you have to do is send me a selfie with your recoil magazine. That's right. Just pose, click a picture, and send it to me. That's all you have to do to enter. And so far, only 2, maybe 3 guys have entered. So, and this ends next week. It ends April 10th. So hurry up and send those recoil magazine selfies in. You don't even have to buy it. Just go into like your Barnes & Noble or bookstore and just do a selfie. That's all I need. So, but you're going to want to buy it because it's an awesome magazine. So send those in, jake@firearmsradio.tv. And you can subscribe to our newsletter. That's right. Subscribe to our email newsletter by going to gunguyradio.com/winner. And that is how you initially get entered for all these awesome giveaways, like these mysterious AR-15 related giveaway coming up next month. That's how you get entered. You subscribe to our email newsletter. If you're already subscribed, don't worry about it. You're set. You're in the running. So gunguyradio.com/winner, and there's also in the sidebar of gunguyradio.com, there's just a simple form to fill out to subscribe. And it sends you a confirmation, so it's like a double opt-in. So make sure you follow those MailChimp confirmations so that you're absolutely signed up. Well, we are to the wrap-up section, basically. So I'd like to thank Ryan Cross, Hunter Design. Ryan has been doing awesome artwork for the Firearms Radio Network. All started with Gun Guy Radio. I saw what Ryan was doing with some other podcasts. I'm like, I need him to design my artwork. So from, proud to say from day one, the Firearms Radio Network, Gun Guy Radio has, been boasting Ryan Cross's awesome artwork. So if you need artwork, web design, anything like that, hunterofdesign.com. Well, that, like I said, wraps up the show. Feedback, please comment, discussion below this video or below this show notes, gunguyradio.com/114. Comment, let me know what you want to hear from the show. I've got some other awesome interviews lined up here in the short term, and we'll probably do maybe an NRA related show. I don't think I'm getting up to NRA all 3 days now that I'm looking at my budget, but be out there for at least one day, so that will be cool. It might be some cool new product. At least we'll get to talk to some neat people. So remember to subscribe to us in iTunes. That's right. Never miss a show. gunguyradio.com/iTunes. Please leave us an iTunes review. I was going to read off the names of the recent reviews, but I closed that screen out already. So big thank you to you guys that have either updated or left new reviews. Thank you so much. Please, if you haven't left an iTunes review, please leave a written review. It helps other people find the show. And Join the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. These organizations are doing, great things for our gun rights that smaller guys, smaller organizations like us or like individuals like me just can't do the big things that these guys are doing. So don't forget to shop around now using our affiliate link, gunguyradio.com/satisfaction. And you can also contribute to the show by shopping Amazon. That's right. Please, please, please bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon before you go shopping. Just click through that, and then a little tiny percentage of the proceeds will help keep the lights on here. So firearmsradio.tv/Amazon, or real easy, just click any Amazon link you see at any of the websites for the Firearms Radio Network, for Gun Guy Radio. Anytime you see an Amazon link on there, before you go shopping, click it, do your shopping. We'll get a little bit of that purchase order. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much for using that, and thank you so much for using the Brownells giveaways. It keeps the lights on, keeps the servers going, and gets us a little bit closer to our dreams. So don't forget to check out the other awesome shows here only on the Firearms Radio Network. You can subscribe to all of them by going to firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. Don't forget we have a Android app, we have a Windows Phone app, really excellent Windows Phone app. Working on the Roku app still for the Roku set-top TV box, and so we're everywhere. iTunes, if you're using iPhone or the iPad, just use the podcasting app. It's the Apple podcasting app. It should be on there. If it's not, it's free. So check it out. And thanks for watching, listening, and we'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.